Okay, so then now that we've created our entities and or our entity and our fields, we've got all of our structure ready to go, what we want to do is we're going to import some data, right? We want to get some data in there. And so this is another place that CDS shines, quite frankly. So up here under Get Data, we have two different options. So we could use this Get Data option, and so this would let us go and get it from all these different sources. So right, so we can go and get it from Azure or Salesforce or SharePoint, an API, web pages, right? All types of fun places to import your data from. So definitely encourage you to check those out. But for today, what I'm going to do is, because I think it's going to be the most common for you guys when you're getting started, is we're going to use the second option. So Get Data and Get Data from Excel. And so after a few seconds, it's going to load up. And so it's like, all right, well, what file do you want to get that from? Well, I'm glad you asked. So we're going to click on Upload. And we're going to grab the file over here on my desktop. Now, before we grab it, though, you can see that I've still got it open. I see the little hidden things. Let's hit Cancel. Let's take a look at my data. So here you can see I've got some different columns, right? So billable, true or false, customer to bill, destination, lots of different things. Some of the column names are the same. Some of the column names are different. I did that on purpose because I wanted you to see that we're just going to go in and manually map it and kind of figure out where things go based on what we have, right? So let's close out of Excel, and we'll click on the Upload. And so then this time I go to my desktop. Yep, the file is ready to be uploaded, so there you go. Right, you have to have the Excel file. You can't upload a open Excel file. So we'll click on this. And so now it's going to push that up so that it can get access to the file. And so after a few seconds, it not only uploaded it, but it went and processed it and said, wait a minute, you need to go map some fields. Got it. I know how to map fields. So we'll click on Map Fields. And so then now it is showing me the fields in my entity. And then it is going to show us the columns that it gets out of the spreadsheet. So billable, I know I want to get that one mapped. So then there is the billable. So 1-to-1, pretty easy. Currency, not something in my spreadsheet, so we're not going to set that one. Destination, I believe that's in my spreadsheet. There it is. Exchange rate, not something we want to do. So expenses, that is something in there, just like that. Invoice sent, there it is. Invoice sent date is sent date in here, right? So different name, but I can map those two together. I'm pretty smart. Mileage expense, that's our calculated column, so we're not going to mess with that. But miles driven, that's one we want. Oh, miles driven. If we scroll down a little further, we can see that trip is red, right? Because it is the required field. It's the that primary one we set up earlier. So then we'll look through here, and that is trip name. So trip is trip name. So if you scroll to the top, you'll notice that there is a warning. It's like, hey, there's more columns in your Excel file than you've mapped already, right? So don't you want to go in and do all those? And I'm like, well, I do, but I don't, because some of those I didn't want to drop. So I'm purposely dropping them, but you will see the warning that you're doing that. So we'll say Save Our Changes. And so then it's like, hey, you still have those warnings. Well, we already checked those. If you hadn't, you just click on Map Fields and go check those again. But we already checked them. We know we're good. So we're going to click on Import. And so after a few seconds, our import is completed successfully. Woohoo! All right. So we're all good there. So I'm going to click on Entities over here again. And we're only showing the custom, make it easy. So now we can click on Travel Tracker, and we can take advantage of the data over here. And there you can see I've got some information in there. Now, one of the things to keep in mind, right, is that CDS is a data storage system, but it's not, there is no button here I can say, hey, I want to add some entities, or I want to, edit this or delete that, right? It's not for manipulating your data in that manner. So that's why we have the bulk import like we just showed. But what we're going to need to do, and we're going to do very shortly, is we're going to have to build some type of app to interface with our data. So I don't want you in here looking around for buttons that don't exist, right? It's all, we can do the bulk import, but we're not going to be like, oh man, I really did not mean to have that party trip in there. Let's get that out of there. There's no way to come in and just manually move that one option out from here. So, all right, I think that looks good. Sums up this one, so I'll see you in a second.